At my sister's engagement party, I was pouring champagne, thinking we were finally a family, until my mom stood up, her voice sharp as a blade, and demanded I give up everything. I'm Olivia Wells, 30, a freelance designer in Asheville, North Carolina. Always the black sheep who chose passion over a corner office. I'd spent weeks planning this night, stringing fairy lights across the venue, booking the best caterer, and curating a playlist to make my sister's moment perfect. The room hummed with laughter, her fiancé's toast drawing cheers, and I felt a rare pride, like I'd earned my place among them. My sister beamed her diamond ring, catching the light, and for once, I thought we were close. Then my mom rose from her seat, her eyes locking on me, cold and unyielding. Olivia, it's time you signed over your dad's fund, she said, her words slicing through the chatter. It's not yours to keep. My heart stopped. The fund, $200,000. Dad left me before he passed was my dream, my chance to open a design studio. The room fell silent, all eyes on me, my sister's lips curling into a smirk, her fiancé staring at his plate. What are you talking about? I asked, my voice trembling, barely holding it together. My mom shrugged casual, as if she'd asked for a napkin. We'll discuss it later, she said, sitting down. I didn't wait for the cake. I grabbed my bag, my heels clicking on the hardwood as I stormed out, my mind a whirlwind of questions. That fund was Dad's gift to me. Why were they after it now? What were they hiding? I'd poured my heart into this family, but that night I saw their true colors. Back at my apartment, I couldn't shake my mom's words, her cold demand echoing like a slap. I'd always been the odd one out, the kid who doodled instead of studying law like my sister. They'd called my dreams childish, but I'd managed that fund for years, protecting Dad's legacy. Now they wanted it. No way was I letting that go. I paced, my pulse racing, knowing this was bigger than a party spat. They thought I'd roll over, but they didn't know me, not anymore. I was done being their doormat. If you've ever been blindsided by family, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. You'll want to see how I fought back and took back what's mine. Outside the venue, the Asheville night air hit me like a slap, but it was my mom's words that stung deeper. Give up Dad's fun like it was nothing. I drove home, my hands gripping the wheel of my sedan, my mind replaying that moment, my sister's smirk, her fiancé's silence, the room staring. Growing up, I was always the disappointment, the dreamer who picked freelancing over a stable career, while my sister was the golden child, always praised, always perfect. Her law degree hung like a trophy in Mom's house, while my sketches were hobbies. Now they wanted the one thing Dad left me. My phone buzzed as I sank onto my couch. A text from my sister. Don't be selfish, Olivia. That fund's for family, not your little art projects. Selfish. I'd managed that fund for years, every cent tied to my dream of a design studio. I called my best friend who'd been at the party, her voice soft but steady over the line. They blindsided you, she said. Your mom's been talking about selling assets for weeks, saying you don't need the money. My stomach twisted weeks. Why didn't you warn me? I snapped, hurt, but trying to stay calm. She apologized, swearing she thought I knew. I hung up, my anger simmering. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment demand. It was a plan. I opened my laptop, logging into the fund's account with shaky hands. The balance, $200,000, was still there, but a pending transfer request dated yesterday stopped me cold. My sister's name was on it, linked to an account I didn't recognize. My jaw tightened as I scrolled through the details, a forged authorization my signature faked. They weren't just asking for the fund, they were stealing it. I slammed the laptop shut, memories flooding back. Dad had trusted me with that money, calling me his visionary when I was just a kid. He died believing I'd make something of it, while Mom and my sister rolled their eyes. Now they thought they could take it because I was the failure. No way. I grabbed my phone, scrolling through contacts for someone who could help. My best friend's words echoed. Mom had planned this. What else were they hiding? I wasn't letting them walk all over me. Not this time. I couldn't sleep, the pending transfer request, burning in my mind, my sister's name on that forged form like a betrayal etched in ink. Why now? What were they planning? I remembered a safe Dad kept in his old study, now a corner of my apartment hidden behind a bookshelf. I dragged the shelf aside, my hands trembling, and punched in his birthday. The lock clicked open. Inside, I found a stack of papers and a USB drive labeled for Olivia. My breath caught as I plugged it into my laptop. Dad's face appeared, his voice steady, in a video he'd recorded years before he passed. Olivia, this fund is yours for your dreams, he said, his eyes warm. Don't let anyone take it. My throat tightened. Dad knew they'd try this. The papers confirmed it. The fund's deed, my name in bold, but a transfer form with my sister's signature, faked to match mine, dated last week. My shock turned to ice-cold fury. This wasn't just greed. Mom wasn't just going along. She was the mastermind. I dug deeper, finding bank statements showing withdrawals she'd authorized funneling money to my sister's failing law practice. They were bleeding the fund dry behind my back. I called my lawyer, a no-nonsense woman I'd met at a networking event. I found proof, I said, my voice steady despite the rage. They faked my signature to steal Dad's fund. She didn't flinch. Bring everything tomorrow morning, she said. We'll build a case. I hung up, my mind racing with every time Mom dismissed me, every time my sister mocked my dreams. They thought I was weak, the kid who'd never fight back. But Dad's video changed everything. It was my weapon, his voice backing me up. I checked the fund's account again, spotting another unauthorized transfer attempt, this one flagged by the bank. My pulse pounded. They were moving fast, thinking I wouldn't notice. I forwarded the details to my lawyer, my resolve hardening. If they wanted a fight, I'd give them one they'd never forget. I wasn't just protecting the fund, I was protecting Dad's trust in me. 2 days later, I walked into my mom's house for a family meeting, the USB drive and papers from Dad's safe heavy in my bag. My lawyer had coached me stay calm show. The evidence, don't let them twist the narrative. The living room was a pressure cooker. My sister sat on the couch, her fiancé shifting uncomfortably beside her. My mom, standing with arms crossed, her face like stone. Let's settle this fun nonsense. My mom said, her tone sharp, like I was a child throwing a tantrum. I took a deep breath, set my laptop on the coffee table, and played Dad's video. His voice echoed, Olivia, this fund is yours for your dreams? The room froze. My sister's eyes widened. Her fiancé stared at the floor, my mom's jaw clenched tight. You thought you could erase Dad's wishes, but I'm his legacy, I said, my voice cutting through the silence like a knife. I slid the forged transfer form across the table, my sister's fake signature glaring. This isn't fake, I said, staring her down. She scoffed, tossing her hair. That's nonsense, Olivia. You're just desperate. My mom jumped in, her voice syrupy. We're family. We share everything. Stop making a scene. I cut her off, my anger flaring. Family doesn't steal. The silence was deafening, their guilt laid bare. My sister grabbed her phone, muttering, I'll fix this. By midnight, her podcast dropped, painting me as a greedy liar, her followers piling on with hateful comments. My blood ran hot. She was dragging my name through the mud. I texted my lawyer, file the lawsuit now. They're done. They thought they could bully me into silence, but I was ready to burn their lives to the ground. The lawsuit hit like a storm, and I stood tall in the Asheville courthouse as my lawyer laid out the evidence, Dad's video, the forged transfer form, bank statements showing my mom's withdrawals. Their defense crumbled. The judge's gavel fell hard. The fund, valued at $200,000, belongs solely to Olivia. She ruled, her voice unwavering. I exhaled, relief flooding through me, but the battle wasn't over. My sister's podcast had turned me into a villain, her followers' comments cutting deep, Olivia's tearing her family apart. I turned the tables. With the fund secure, I launched my design studio, pouring my heart into every project, and started a podcast of my own, laying bare every detail of their betrayal. It exploded, thousands of downloads in days, Listeners flooding the comments, "Your sister's a snake," one wrote. "Your mom's got no shame," said another. Asheville turned on them. Neighbors snubbed my mom at the market, whispering about her schemes. My sister's engagement photos vanished from social media. Her law practice bled clients. They were pariahs now, their reputations in tatters. I moved to a new loft, bright with high ceilings, my sketches framed on the walls. I froze my old accounts, ensuring they'd never touch my money again. My best friend stopped by handing me a coffee, her smile wide. "You took your life back," she said, squeezing my hand. I nodded, my heart steady. The community rallied around me, local blogs praising my fight. I'd walked through fire, but I'd come out stronger, my future finally mine. They tried to break me, but I'd built something they could never touch. 6 months later, I stood in my loft, sunlight pouring through the windows, my design sketches pinned to a corkboard, each one a testament to a life I'd built from scratch. My studio was booked solid clients raving about my work, and my podcast had become a beacon for others, sharing stories of betrayal. I hadn't spoken to my mom or my sister since the trial. Their numbers stayed blocked, their messages, unread, their names, absent from my life. A neighbor mentioned they'd moved to a smaller house on the edge of Asheville, their social circle gone, their names now synonyms for deceit in local coffee shops. My sister's podcast had crashed, her followers turning on her as my story spread like wildfire. I felt no joy in their downfall, just a quiet peace. My best friend visited one afternoon, her eyes bright as she handed me a smoothie. "You're unstoppable," she said, hugging me tight. I smiled, knowing I'd earned this freedom. Looking back, their betrayal taught me a hard lesson. Family doesn't always mean loyalty. Dad's fund was my future, and I'd fought to protect it, not just for me, but for his memory. To anyone listening, don't let guilt or love blind you. Stand up for what's yours, no matter who's against you. Your rights are worth fighting for. Thank you for following my journey. Your support kept me going. Hit that subscribe button and share your story in the comments. I read everyone. Here's to building a life on your terms, no matter who tries to tear it down.